Ọmọ òwe ìgbẹ́ dàgbà o, ọmọ òwe ìgbẹ́ dàgbà o, kékeré jòjò ló máa gbé tèmi. Ọmọ òwe ìgbẹ́ dàgbà, kékeré jòjò ló máa gbé tèmi. Ọmọ òwe ìgbẹ́.
Assalamu alaikum to the Omoluabi mummies and daddies in the house who are striving so hard to raise upcoming Omoluabi, and to the Omoge and Apon not yet married but are also Omoluabi and hoping to raise Omoluabi children in future. I am saying Assalamu alaikum. And to the most special category whom Allah will bless Omoluabi children in sets very soon, as in meji, meta. I am saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Omoluabi in English language means the way of the ideal being, or someone with a virtuous character. Omoluabi originates from the Yoruba language. It connotes respect for self and others. Omoluabi is a Yoruba philosophical and cultural concept used to describe a person of absolute goodness. And Omoluabi is a person of honor who believes in hard work and gives to the community in deeds and action. It signifies humility and respect. For example, in the Yoruba society, when a child or a younger person sees an older person carrying something from near or afar, and the young chap gives the older person a hand, such a child is praised as Omoluabi and will get accolades and prayers from the older person for being such a thoughtful child. This has been the ways of most African communities since time immemorial. Here comes the big question. Can we detach Islam from the concept of Omoluabi? Or let me simply say, can someone who everybody knows as being respectful, hardworking, and of upright character be considered as Omoluabi if the person's belief does not align with Islamic monotheism, the belief in the oneness of God? Like, I am good to everyone, but I don't believe that God is one, or I don't even believe that there is God. Then I think, from my own opinion, that we need to redefine the concept of Omoluabi, the ideal being. In a nutshell, the ideal Omoluabi is a person who is dutiful to his Lord and compassionate to fellow humans. He strikes the balance, worshipping Allah according to the dictates of Islam, striving towards the obedience of Allah, and adhering to the Sunnah of his messenger. And this is where we draw the lines as Muslims. We don't just limit ourselves to the Yoruba philosophical and cultural concept of Omoluabi. We should endeavor to be sunnatic Omoluabi. In other words, Omoluabi Onisunna. In fact, I can boldly say that a person who is conscious of Allah in secret and in the open, and doing his or her best to obey Allah and his messenger, such a person will naturally have the character that qualifies one as Omoluabi, because Islam as a way of life really helps to fine-tune character and helps one to behave more reasonably. Of course, human beings will be naughty once in a while, but check yourself as an individual. If you are someone who got to understand and practice Islam as it should be done at some point in your life, or maybe at a later stage in your life, there are some characters that you would have dropped. Like if someone messes up with you outside, you would say, thank God for Islam, oh, I would have shown you the Omomushin side of me. Real talk. How do we raise the ideal Omoluabi in today's society where immorality is on the rise? And this is simply because everyone believes they can decide how to live. Many people no longer cares about divine guidance. And this has led to so many societal problems. Increase in crime rates, nudity, just name it. Every right-thinking parent should be worried for their wards because children are seeing indecent scenes in real life and on TV programs. Fitna is on the rise. Before now, especially in African countries, corporal punishment was the method used to teach children acceptable behaviors, including how to make good choices and exercise self-control. Even now, many parents still rely on physical punishment to accomplish these goals. Corporal punishment does more harm than good, While corporal punishment may lead to immediate compliance, changes in behavior might only be short-term. Corporal punishment is not as effective. When you continually eating your kids, it increases aggressive behavior. In fact, children who are often spanked are most likely to eat other people. When you continually yell and spank your kids, you are modeling aggressive behavior, and they start to believe that, okay, the best way to react to anger is to spank and to yell. And that unconsciously registers in their mind. Have you noticed that your child acts like you, use words that you always use, mimicking you? They are fast learners, observing the way you talk and the things you do. Then they will photocopy that character and display it for you. Let us be very careful. Try to limit or avoid spanking if you can. May we not use our hands to raise future wife beaters or daughters that will destroy valuables because of anger. Don't forget that one of the characteristics of Omoluabi is being able to control one's emotion. And if we don't try to control our emotions as parents in the presence of our children, they will grow up with it, and it might be really difficult to change them later on. Avoid doing what you don't want your children to do, at least in their presence. Then what should we do as parents if we choose to stop eating the kids? Should we then leave them to become spoiled brats? That will be a good question to ask. The first thing, of course, before we start talking about positive discipline alternatives, will be to connect our children to the dean and then leveling up our parenting game. That is the first step. But the thing is, we often focus on the physical aspect of connection to the deen, like taking the kids to the masjids and madrasas. These are wonderful, but we also need to start building their interest and love for Islam in small, tangible ways, through interactions and conversations, so that they will develop strong love and consciousness of Allah from a tender age. Okay, let me dissect for better understanding. You will notice that many kids tend to obey their parents when their parents instruct them to perform the salat, for example, when their parent is physically present. And most of the time, when the parent is out of sight, they could totally neglect the salat. So how do we nurture that love and consciousness of Allah from that tender age, so that they will become naturally in love with Allah without having to force them to accept? It all starts with telling them beautiful things about Allah. Jannah. Forget about Jahannama for now if they are still toddlers. My opinion though. Teach them adkar from the Sunnah and encourage a prayer routine so that they can form the habit of connecting and conversing with Allah from a young age. Because they need to develop their own genuine relationship with Allah. For example, Mommy, I am scared to go to the toilet alone. I want you to follow me. Tell the child to say his adkar and Allah will protect him. Because even mommy, as big as she is, cannot protect herself. Daddy, when are you buying me that shoe that I like? Hey, children like bye-bye. They can spend your 1 month salary in a single day. Remind the child to ask Allah to bless daddy with money so that daddy can buy her favorite shoes. So you got your kids new toys and they are like, hey, thank you, mommy. Simply say, you are most welcome. But don't forget to say Alhamdulillah. Because if Allah had not blessed mommy with money, mommy would have been too broke to buy you these toys. Just always involve Allah in conversations with them. It will start to register in their little mind that, that Allah must be very important. And because I made this a habit in my home, my own son will go to one corner and say, Ya Allah, bless daddy and mommy with money so that they will buy me an aeroplane and a helicopter. And I will be like, oh, for a private jet. Let us go to some very practical parenting tips. One way to change our parenting game is to stop seeing our children like a property that we own. Start seeing them as an individual, a fellow human being whom Allah created for the same reason He created you, which is of course for the purpose of worship. See your child as a unique person, someone with his or her own journey, a human being who also have feelings and emotions. And because they have blood running through their veins, you should expect normal human being behaviors such as anger, mood swings, some positives, and the not so good. Yeah, because they are not malahika. They only happen to come through you. Our role as parents is to nurture, to influence, to guide, to encourage and to support, and then to advise, because we are older and we have seen life than them. That is just the leverage, not to control, because the truth is that nobody wants to be controlled. The average human being will not want to cooperate with someone who is controlling and commanding. We would unconsciously become rebellious towards such people. No this and no peace. Controlling parenting strategy hardly works. In fact, we can't 100% control our children, because the truth is that they are unique individuals with their own minds. They may do exactly what you want for the fear of Cain, but what happens when you turn your back? It is human nature to resist control and to rebel when control is often enforced. Resisting control stems from the human natural ego and instinct called counterwill. And this counterwill is naturally activated when a child feels controlled every time. Children are mostly influenced by those they feel the deepest respect and strongest connection to. They learn best when encouraged, not when criticized. Your child will only follow your lead if they want to, and they will only want to if they feel good about you and if they are positively connected to you. The disadvantage of controlling parenting style is that it is mostly counterproductive. It undermines the child's self-regulation and their capabilities for responsibilities. What every child needs is support, structure, and connection. For example, when a child asks such questions like, "But mommy, why did you tell me not to do this?" It is tempting to simply say, "Because I said so." But that is not the best approach. The best approach will be to explain the consequences of every action to your child and let the child reason along with you. Don't let your children's instinct to resist become greater than their instinct to follow. Every human being with blood flowing through their veins will naturally give a listening ear to someone who advises kindly. We are more likely to give a listening ear to someone who admonishes us with empathy. So those children of ours also feel the same way. They are not robots. They feel. Don't assume that, kina worondo yimfili. Kilomo. They are a manner that Allah wants us to guide, to coach, and to lead in the right direction. When we reset our minds to understand that we don't own them, Allah does, and He is the controller of hearts, we will do more of praying for them and become more purposeful and assured in our roles. We will become calmer, more steadfast in positive discipline. We will be willing to give our kids listening ears. We will be open to holding conversations with them. Don't scare them into submission. It is just a temporary measure. Rather, encourage cooperation. Are you wanting to shield them from problems or to guide them to become problem solvers? As much as we are in charge as parents, our children should feel loved and valued. See, parenting is something one has to learn, understand, and practicalize. But most of the time, we just assume that as soon as we start having kids, the knowledge automatically comes. No, I will suggest that parents who are expecting for the first time get a parenting coach or get some counseling, read books on parenting, take courses on parenting, watch educational videos on parenting. I think that parenting counseling should be as popular as premarital or marital counseling, because it is not easy to raise another human being, not to talk of 2, 3, 4. And the parenting strategies for toddlers will be slightly different with the parenting strategy for preschoolers, different from the school age stages, and also different from the rebellious teenage years. For every stage a child hits, there are strategic parenting guidelines to work for the child. This means that we need to learn, relearn, and keep updating our parenting approach. In summary, disciplining is about guiding and teaching our children. It is not about punishment or anger. It is a simple way of helping kids to learn right from wrong. Some discipline strategies that have been tested and validated to be more effective than hitting and yelling are: number 1, staying calm. Please pay attention to this. When your little one is whining, acting fuzzy, or having temper tantrums, they are not doing all this to manipulate or frustrate you. Most toddlers misbehave because they can't express or control their emotions. They tend to be very demonstrative. So when they are happy, they are very happy. And when they are upset, they are very upset. At that stage, the child does not understand control. We need to help the child to manage his or her emotions. Shouting back or using threats simply means you are not in control. It means you do not also have control over your anger and emotions. So how do you want to help the child? I would say the best way to limit kids' tantrum is to avoid the triggers. Some kids will cry their lungs out when they are hungry, sleepy, or upset. Determine what triggers your child meltdown and try to avoid it. And in a situation where it is impossible to avoid their tantrums, keep your cool. Be in control. You can hug the child, continue to calm the child. Let the child feel secured. You can use phrases like pẹ̀lẹ́, má bínú, ṣe sùúrù, sabur. You will be fine. This will help the child to put himself together. Back in the days, grandparents used oriki. The bottom line is that no matter how frustrated you are with the crying and tantrums of the child, which I totally understand, I can relate, try not to get angry at that point. Be the adult and let the child be the child. You are indirectly passing a message to your child that it is possible to stay calm in the face of frustration. And no matter what the issue is, don't address it until the child is calm. When the child is calm, then you can talk to the child about their behaviors and your expectations. But the first thing you want to do before correcting the child is to acknowledge their feelings. Anger is normal. If it is okay for mommy and daddy to get angry, it is also okay for the infant, the 2-year-old, the 3-year-old, and the 4-year-old upwards to also get angry. Remember I said in the beginning that you should start seeing your children as human beings with his or her own strengths and weaknesses. What you want to do is to teach them how to manage the anger, not by telling them not to get angry because you can't control that. I am sorry. You can say Jewel or Princess. I know you felt really upset the other time, maybe with mommy, daddy, or their siblings. I understand that you were so pissed. Sorry you felt that way. But the best thing you could have done, instead of screaming and shouting, is to take a walk. That way, you would avoid the person or sin that is upsetting you. It will relieve the anger. You can stamp your feet on the floor. You can go to your room and grab your pillow tight until you feel better. But it is not acceptable to yell too much or to hit anyone and bang objects no matter how frustrated you are. With this statement, you have acknowledged the child's feelings. You provided the child with better options, to help them manage their big feelings. You have set limits that should not be crossed, no matter the anger. This is the most effective way to help children, especially the ones with high temperaments. They might repeat the same behavior in few minutes. You remain calm. It is hard, but try. They might repeat the behavior tomorrow. Use the same approach. They might even continue for another 6 months. Continue the same approach. Try not to lose it. Let me tell you what will happen when you are patient and consistent with this approach. Your child will love you more. The child will start to connect with you emotionally. The child will start to learn self-control because you are modeling self-control to him or her. The child will become calmer. And lastly, the child will change. The change is not for the child to stop getting angry. Be realistic. He or she is human. The child will develop good anger management as she grows because that is all that matters. Learning to manage frustration because in this life, frustration no dey finish. So to help your child to manage future frustration, start by modeling self-control today. Word of mouth alone is not what will change them. What you do is what they learn. So daddy and mommy, you need to work on yourself first to help your child. Let me cite an example before I move to the next point. The highest insult we always use on the kids, no matter how angry we are, is naughty. We could say things like, stop being naughty. Are you a naughty boy? So my 4-year-old, we always tell his 2-year-old brother, don't be naughty. Every word we say, he will grab and start using. So one day, for the first time, I used the word stupid. For more than 2 weeks, my 4-year-old child will not stop calling his brother stupid. In fact, everything is stupid. stupid toys, stupid this, stupid that. And then the 2-year-old started saying stupid. I said, hey, who sent me? I have to think of ways to help them to stop saying stupid. Eventually, God helped me. I didn't use threats because it will not work. It could even make it worse. What I did was to continuously talk about it. I always say, listen, saying stupid to someone is not fair. I know mommy called you stupid last week, but mommy was wrong. I shouldn't have used the word stupid. I am sorry about that. Do you notice that I did not say stupid anymore? That is because mommy is trying to change. Will you also try to change and be a good boy? He said yes. And that was it. At times, he will forget and I will repeat myself again. Don't underestimate the power of communication in relationships, including the relationship with your child. Talk to your kids no matter how little they are, kindly. That is what peers into their hearts. Just communicate in a way that they can understand. Use words that suit their age. If I was talking to my 2-year-old, my sentence will be shorter for easy assimilation. Like, it is not good to say stupid. I can even turn it into rhymes like, we will not say stupid, no saying stupid, no and no to stupid. Another example is, it was a serious work to teach my boys to say, please, I am sorry and thank you, because they always forget. So what I did was to start using the words when I talk to them. I could say, Abdulbar, can you help me with my phone, please? I will elongate the please. And when he brings the phone, I will simply say, thank you. Forget about Nami born you. I am your mother. You must listen to me. Check yourself. Do you submit easily to people that are controlling and commanding, irrespective of their roles in your life or how senior they are? You will get along easily with those who treat you with respect and acknowledge every little good that you do. So when I kept using those 3 phrases for my little ones, please, journal, thank you, Jazakallahu khairan, I am sorry. It did a lot of magic. It is not because if I don't use those words, I won't have my way. But no, I want them to understand that people should be addressed politely. And no matter our status in life, we shouldn't expect people to always be at our beck and call. I noticed that without stress, even my 2-year-old now says, please, when he wants to ask for something as little as water. Mommy, can I have water, please? I will say, sure. And then I will give him water. And most of the time, he will forget to say thank you. And I would say, what will you say to appreciate? Thank you, ma. It could take months, a year, or even more. But he will eventually master thank you, bi-iznillah. So children learn a lot more from what we do. If you lose your cool when you are upset, expect your kids to do the same. If your child nags and whines too much, she might just be mimicking how you sound whenever you get upset with her.